Hello folks, we are back. This is my second video today. I am Scott from the churchdog42 channel, and with me we have a guest. She is the world traveling Aunt BB, and she is about to watch the dog pee on my bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On the pillow and then on the bed. Watch. No. Nope.
Bo, no.
No.
Mm-mm. No.
Down he goes to look cute until we're not watching again.
Yeah.
Anyway, say hi, Aunt BB.
Hi, Aunt BB.
That joke never gets old. How you doing?
Fine.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Without giving actual dates and or itinerary detailed information, where are you off to now?
Right now?
Well, I mean, okay.
Soon.
We're going to go to Walmart. But then, in the overall scheme of things, like the next couple of days, where are you going to head off to?
Well, I am going to Cuba soon.
Why do you answer that in such a weird,
because you
precarious
don't want
way?
me to give details.
I don't want you to tell people what flight you're on, what day you're leaving, and all that stuff. Of course not.
I'm going to Cuba.
Okay, good.
Cool.
I'll see you in CU, BA. Did you ever look that song up? That's actually a song.
Sing it.
I'll see you in CU, BA.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's because I sang it so poorly. But it is a song.
Who sang it?
I don't have any
when?
idea. It was back. It was a croner back in the day when Cuba
before the
was,
revolution.
Right, Batista days. Right.
Oh.
When the mob was there and people like you know, all the croners from New York and Jersey would go down there, all the mob guys, and they would play the casinos and the fucking houses.
I might have heard that. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to Cuba. I'm going to stay with a family, 4 generations of Cubans under one roof. Yeah.
Wow. How big is it? How many people?
So there's a woman who runs so it's a private residence, so Cubans are allowed to have tourists or whoever. If they're Americans, they can't be tourists. Right. They have to be under a certain category. I'm going as a journalist under a general license.
Okay.
And so there's a woman she's hosting. She's my host. Her mother lives with her. So the woman is a few years younger than me. Her mother lives with her. Her son lives with her, her grown son, his wife, and their daughter. So her granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
So you have a great grandmother all the way down to a great granddaughter.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool.
4 generations.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you'll be there for about 8 or 9 days in that area.
Over a week.
That's cool.
A little over a week. Yeah.
Do you know what you want to see?
A little bit, but I kind of play it by ear. I'll be flexible.
Yeah. Okay. So you stopped by in Tampa down here on your
I'm kind
route?
of getting ready and
going over Spanish. And you said you had somebody at the hostel that you're staying at who also speaks Spanish.
I think he's Puerto Rican. I mentioned to him, but I haven't seen him. So yeah, probably I talked to him a little. But you know, the problem is when I asked him, he starts rattling off.
That's the problem with those damn Puerto Ricans. Every time you need them, you can't find them.
I remembered him. I had stayed at the hostel before, so I remembered that he...
Had he been there the whole time?
I think he kind of works there.
Oh, okay.
I think. He
That's
cooks.
cool.
He's a very good cook. But the problem is that, you know, he just wants to rattle off in Spanish. Like, I can understand every single word that he's saying. So, I'll try it out. I'm brushing up. I'm sure I'll learn really fast because you have to.
You have to.
And I did study Spanish. I was certified to translate, written Spanish. So I took an intensive course in Spanish, and it was pretty good. But I don't use it, so you just get rusty.
So if one of them were to say in Spanish to you, like, here, read this kidnapping letter to the camera.
I could read it.
You could read it. Okay, good.
I could read it.
You have to read it in English, because it's going to be you talking to the camera, to your husband saying, "Please send, whatever
Well,
they,
I'm hoping
whatever
that
they want,
it won't come
whatever,
to that.
whatever's big money in Cuba, which could be about $50 or $60. I hope he can put his hand on $50 or $60 in a quick, you know.
But the key words to say in Cuba are quiero yayo.
Yayo. Yayo.
Yayo.
Yayo.
Yayo.
Yayo.
Tenga yayo? Quiero yayo.
I mentioned yayo. Something about yayo sounded like yayo, and I said that in a video, and she goes, "Ooh, Scott, how do you know about the yayo?"
Yayo.
I'm like, I watched Scarface. Okay, so people have come here because not for us to shoot the shit, but to talk about this, Mr. Assange.
Yeah. Poor Julian. I don't dare do that. That's not going to be good. You can get away with that. I can't.
I have to do that when people I see this guy.
It would be a porn video if I started doing that.
Julian, oh, Julian, oh.
Well, this is the thing. People always have to have heroes, and they go down the wrong path.
What is that quote I tried to remember? I screwed it up. I told you the one from that fucking Rain of Fire movie.
Oh,
some say God bless the town that has heroes. I say, God damn the people who need them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This hero, people get fixated on politicians like Bernie or Tulsi. Right. And even sometimes,
Donald.
Well, Ilhan is another one that.
Ilhan's one. Donald's one.
And Assange, and they're not thinking straight.
Obama.
They don't look at, they're not looking at what's going on. They're just like, oh, he's my hero. He's a hero. He's being tortured. Right. You know, they just go off the deep end.
And they make shit up. They just make shit up. I talked about that for an hour and 20
mythology.
Minutes. I'm not going to rehash all of that again.
It's the mythology.
We have a different, believe it or not, we have a different take. Something that I think is interesting and important. This is not going to be, we're already at the 7-minute mark. This is not going to be an hour and 20-minute video. But there's a different element. No, it isn't. But there's a different element to this. And that aspect is something that she brought up with me the other day and wanted to hash it out today in this video. And that is that people don't seem to really understand the inner workings of the average U.S. embassy. And for that matter, really...
Other embassies of other countries.
Right. Especially, well, if they're part of the westernized globalist.
It depends, but exactly, so that they're connected in some way.
Right. So I'm sure it also applies to it. I'm sure it also applies to like Chinese embassies and Russian embassies. I'm sure. Right. And that is that. Maybe you could put it better. Go ahead.
Well, people think these embassies are these nice little places where countries represent their interests. And it's all very innocent, and diplomats are just nice people, and they behave diplomatically.
No.
Well, there's some of that. Embassies and consulates are used to spy on that country.
And they're used as hubs for different operations. A fine example would be that, remember in Ukraine, that those politicians came out in their parliament saying that this is not a fucking natural uprising. They were bringing in, the ambassador was bringing in people from the opposition and getting them ready prior to the fucking stage events.
There are nefarious activities being conducted from
Same thing happened with McFaul, I believe is his name, from Russia during the Hillary Clinton days when she was pushing the Pussy Riot people and the fake fucking the stage scenes in the lead up to the election there. Same thing happened in Syria. So of course the same thing is probably happening with what's going on with Ecuador, right?
Absolutely. So
from the beginning.
And I'm just going to say, because I worked at NSA and people were trying to smear me and saying, oh, you you're a baby killer. You worked for NSA. And it's bullshit because it's incredible the numbers of people who have been somehow connected to the intelligence community through the military or whatever.
Right.
And these are just ordinary people doing their job, and they're not baby killers. They're not, they're just doing their job, and they think they're doing the right thing for their country. But I know, the NSA people are at embassies, and they work under the CIA. There's something called the Secret Collection Service. So these are NSA people that the CIA has on loan, and they're to conduct intercepts. They take so they intercept communications in that country and analyze them, and they transcribe them and translate them. It's a CIA setup.
Right.
There are CIA people at embassies. There's a title. The chief of station is the head CIA guy at an embassy. He's given, and they all have, all these people, CIA, NSA, they have diplomatic status. But are they diplomats? No.
No, of course not.
No.
Right.
And people are very naive about embassies. There are lots of intelligence community people staffed at these embassies, and the same would be true at embassies of other countries.
Especially if they're favored nation status with us, of course they'd expect it. We'd expect the same thing going along with that.
And it's all understood. The host countries know that.
Right.
It's
right. Remember, not too long ago, I think it was still Obama was still in charge, and there was some embassy staff who were supposedly State Department in Pakistan, who ended up arrested by Pakistani police and were being held by the Pakistani government. Now, we own and operate the ISI and, of course, the Pakistani military, but we don't, from time to time, depending on who's the prime minister, we don't necessarily own and operate the government. And so the government it was a big stake. Turned out he was. The two of them were CIA.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what they said. That's what Pakistani said. These are CIA, and we were like, no. Just like, so you're saying basically just like the National Endowment for Democracy or USAID, the CIA and the NSA, some other organizations, will sometimes use, or always in some cases use, the State Department as an in to get inside. I'm sure
there are like DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency people there. The other thing is, before the U.S. had an embassy, before the U.S. embassy reopened in Havana, the Canadian embassy conducted spying for the U.S.
In Cuba.
Canada, Canadians think, oh, we're Canada, we're innocent, we're wonderful. In those countries, yeah, they do. In those countries where the U.S. does not have an embassy, you know who's spying for the U.S.? It's Canada.
Could you rub your nipples while doing that voice next time?
No, it'd be a porn video then. I can't do that.
I get my second strike.
But you would get a lot more subs.
Briefly.
Yeah. All these older men who go to mermaid shows and go, oh, look at him be.
I found something new. My last mermaid drowned.
It's on BB.
God damn it. Where's my sticky floor when I need it?
Yeah,
okay.
But Canada is America's little bitch, and they do the spying for the U.S. in those countries where the U.S. has no diplomatic presence.
Yeah.
So people are very naive about embassies and consulates and what's really going on there.
Right, now let's show how naive they are. And we'll start off with, since he's here, Ron Paul. Again, look, I did my thing about Jimmy Dore this morning. I don't think you had a chance to see it yet. But because you're a world traveler and everything. But I didn't sound too jealous, did it? A little? Okay.
You get upset if I don't watch your videos now.
I do. In case you guys... see, she didn't think that you guys would have noticed the helmet hanging back there, but that's why I lean back. Because I know my audience is quick, and they'll pick up on that shit. See that?
They're not that quick. I've seen the comments. Uh-oh.
Those are my trolls. My trolls aren't that quick.
Uh-oh.
But So this morning I did the video about Jimmy Dore, and I said, well, Jimmy, he's just people like Jimmy, people like. I showed you where I was in 2010, the shit that I was talking about and writing about in 2010. I wanted to start the whole video off with this, but we forgot to do it.
Oh, really? Oh, I forgot.
Didn't we? We forgot to do it.
Well, we haven't done it. I didn't know you wanted to start with that.
I mean, I said we wanted to start with that, to start the thing. That's what I meant when I said I wanted to start the thing off with that. That's what I think I meant that. Let me read this to you once again, just in case you didn't see the video, the hour and 300-minute video that I made this morning. Quote. I'm quoting now. Apparently, that's a copyright violation in the European Union. Quote, by March, more than 1 million leaked documents from governments and corporations in Asia, the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the former Soviet bloc, all places we want a regime change, by the way, will be available in a bold new collective experiment in whistleblowing. That is, of course, as long as you don't accept any of the conspiracy theories brewing that WikiLeaks.org could be a front for the CIA or other intelligence agencies. End quote. If you need, that was published 4 months before WikiLeaks published anything. Mm-hmm. That was also published right around the same time that John Young suggested in an email back to Julian Assange that he was leaving. He wasn't going to help him out anymore because he was suspicious it could be something. What they're doing is something, the kind of shit that spies do. Trying to collect $5 million before they published anything. If that doesn't tell you something is up, and has been from the very beginning with WikiLeaks, I don't know what else I could tell you. But that's my work from 2010. I did earlier shit as well. Right? Now, just so you know, people like Jimmy Dore and Caitlin Johnstone, they weren't doing that shit in 2010. So I kind of give them a little credit, a pass, because they're just ignorant. But you can't give this guy a pass. You can't give him a pass because he was probably on a House intelligence agency in 2010. He certainly has access to more information than I do, or than we do. You want to hear what he has to say? Okay, let's hear what he has to say. What's been happening with old Julian Assange in that embassy?
Gotten Assange, and they're going to continue his vicious treatment. Some people say that he's been tortured, and I don't think he was waterboarded, but living the way he's had to live for 6 years now, I mean, he has had a rough time, and I think he's been essentially in solitary confinement, living in the embassy. But the Ecuadorians removed his status and kicked him out of the embassy. And can you believe it? The British police were right there. They couldn't wait. As a matter of fact, they didn't wait till he walked on the street. They just marched in and made sure they got him, and they arrested him. He's been convicted, I understand now, because of...
Look how uncomfortable he is. Watch his fingers.
Some charge made way back that he didn't show up under dire circumstances to a hearing, but he has suffered a lot.
It's like he's trying to touch himself through the fucking table.
Man.
So I mean, okay. So do you think, knowing what you know about embassies, do you think they were torturing him, keeping him under?
He was not under house arrest, as some people believe.
What?
He had been granted asylum by the previous Ecuadorian government under Correa.
Mm-hmm.
Correa.
Right.
And
how close was Correa to the Clinton State Department and Barack Obama? Were they somewhat close? Correa was a left, progressive left. Supposedly, right. But Ecuador was never Brazil. It wasn't Delula, Brazil.
No,
of course not.
It's sort of it's neoliberalized Ecuador.
Right. So they were friendly, and they had decent relations back and forth.
The corporations, oil companies are in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but they were supposedly lefter than the ones who are there now. Right. Kind of like what we had before here. We had Barack Obama, who was supposedly the left.
Yeah.
And now we got Donald Trump. Yeah. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so under that government, should I bring up we've already talked about that operation that was set up?
Yeah, sure.
Is that the
yeah.
segue
Sure.
into that?
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. This is what came out in May of
last
2018.
year.
Right.
Last year.
And it clearly states right here, files show at least 5 million on activities including spying on the guests, not on Assange, but on the guests.
It's not a spy operation against Assange. Like in the title it says for
Right.
Assange.
Right. And whoever he was working for. They brought in an outside company, which is also important. It wasn't Ecuadorian
it's
intelligence. They
contracted.
contracted it out. So what does the CIA do? They contract all this shit out, right? What does the NSA do?
Increasingly, yeah.
Right,
When
increasingly.
they started that when I worked there, and
Right.
it's really big time contracted out.
Right. So, again, my suspicion is the people who carried him out to make a nice big dramatic thing were in fact those contractors.
Yeah, could very well be. Yeah. Those were not uniformed police, so.
No. And of course,
And they were saying, "Oh, they were a secret police." Well, how do you know that?
it's a secret.
or they're secret something contractors.
Right.
But people are making a big deal. Oh, you got that from the Guardian. That's not credible.
Look at this. Watch this. What does that say?
Henchmen. U.S. henchmen. Well, how did they... U.S. henchmen. I thought they were British police, right?
The reason I pulled this up was to see if they had any information on that. I said, when I saw that, I said,
So
okay, does that mean they're U.S. contractors? And who hires U.S. contractors? Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
That is interesting, that title. But who cares? Like, the Guardian published WikiLeaks.
Right.
And people are making a big deal. Oh, that's not a credible story because it's in the Guardian. Well, the Guardian also published WikiLeaks.
Right. And WikiLeaks didn't push back. Nobody's pushed back on it.
Yeah.
I've heard nobody push back on this at all. In fact, when you go to this, we're going to show this in a few seconds. When you go to that, they act as if this never fucking happened. You know, they act as if this never fucking happened. What really happened though was someone leaked this shit.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that before. And I don't know if we haven't done it yet in this video, but about is the intelligence world, is it unipolar? Is it one?
It's not a monolith.
One
I kind of got into
thing?
that a little bit in my video. But even within an agency, there are rivalries and conflicting interests and things jockeying around. Oh, I want these resources. And so people think it's, we're just one mission. That's it. Everybody, every agency, everybody within an agency, we have the same goal.
Right.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Here's a fine example. We go back to 2016, January 2016. I covered this. January 2017. I covered this. This is that fucking report about the all 17 agencies have said, and how many people was that actually? 20 hand-picked people from 3 agencies.
Yeah.
According to Clapper, who was the head of the DNI at the time. The guy who would have handpicked the people, so he knew exactly how many people it was. But again, everyone likes to see, the agencies as one monolithic, point of view. We've got one plan.
Different individuals within.
Right, and it goes like this. Right. Sometimes it goes like this.
Yeah, so they can fight.
Right.
The rivalries.
Right.
And the other thing about this article, and it goes into great detail, but people clearly are in denial. They don't want to read it, but there's a lot of detail, and I agree. Somebody has leaked this, and there are how many authors? 5?
Yeah.
So a lot of different people came together, and somebody made a big stink about one of the authors. Well, big deal.
Yeah.
And so it's very telling. So
Luke Harding.
Yeah, that was the one they made up.
Yeah, but he's not. He doesn't even get top billing in this.
No. Yeah, so they want to throw when they want to make an argument, they'll say, "Oh, well, look at this, look at this, look at this," and then they just discredit anything that you say to counter that.
let me just quote this real quick. The team consulted Assange about each person seeking to visit with him. Guests would pass through a security zone, leaving their passports with staff there, probably their cell phones as well, because that's standard practice. According to sources and documents seen by The Guardian, the passports were used to create a profile that described the visit and gave background details of all his visitors. Worried that British authorities could use force to enter the embassy, is that possible?
That what? Sorry?
Worried that British authorities could use force to enter the embassy and seize Assange, is that possible?
No.
Is that like an act of war, going into somebody else's embassy?
They wouldn't do that.
No, they would never do that.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No.
Worried that British authorities could use force to enter the embassy and seize Assange, Ecuadorian officials came up with a plan to help him escape. They included smuggling Assange out in diplomatic vehicles.
Yeah, people don't understand how people and things are brought into embassies, taken out of embassies. There's so much diplomatic protection,
Right.
and the British authorities are not going to touch,
Right.
Because they don't want their embassies to be violated.
Right. So if you
That's
see,
the agreement.
especially if it's a country that's you're in friendly relations with,
Yeah.
you're not going to touch that car. You're not going to touch anything in that car, or anyone in that car. So to be honest with you, just like when fucking Edward Snowden. Now this is interesting. I want to make a connection. Remind me to make this connection in a second. This is interesting. So just like Edward Snowden was able to hide for almost 3 months in that small little area in that airport in Moscow.
Yeah.
Where anybody working there with a cell phone, if they had taken a picture of him, they could have sold it for how much money to TMZ at the time.
Yeah.
He was the world's most sought after
Yeah.
picture. So any employee could have taken a picture, and it was about the size of 2 Burger Kings side by side.
Right.
That's how big it was.
Yeah.
So, and they had 2 little places to eat. So either he was hiding under a corner, eating by himself and eating rat droppings,
Yeah.
or he was eating in the fucking little restaurant where any employee could take a picture of him.
Yeah, it's a tiny area that's really intended for people, I guess, who
If they're
have
stuck
some
in
time
between, right, and it's an international zone,
Yeah,
so
it's just a
if
little
you're stuck,
area.
you get a problem with your passport. You got to get that worked out. You need a day or so. You got these little cubicle kind of
right.
things, but there's only like 6 of those cubicles.
Yeah.
There's a couple places, but you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But again, there are people inside that thing,
Yeah.
and in fact, for a while, there were reporters inside that thing. Nobody saw them. Miraculously
That makes no
enough,
sense at all.
nobody saw.
Yeah,
Made
makes
no sense at all.
No.
Especially when you consider any fucking employee there takes one picture of him with their cell phone, and they could literally, in Russia, you could literally retire for the rest of your life. So that was stupid. As remarkable as that is, this guy, for some reason, never figured out, and the Ecuadorians never figured out, well, we could easily just get him the fuck out of here and take him someplace else that's not going to extradite him. We can get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All we do is put him in the back of the car. No one's going to, and this happens downstairs in the basement, which is closed and sealed. The door opens, out comes a car with the fucking black goddamn windows. No one's going to pull it over. No one's going to fucking search it, ever. You go straight to the fucking hangar. Door closes. You get on the fucking plane. Off you go.
It's very easy to get people in and out of under diplomatic cover.
Right. As long as the
People
actual
don't get
license
that.
plate and the vehicle are diplomatic.
Yeah, they're not gonna
Right.
not gonna touch it.
And they hint
Same
at the
thing.
fact right there.
Yeah.
Right.
So the one thing people were saying, oh, Assange was being detained there. He was under house arrest. So the visitors who went there is like going into a prison, and so they should have expected to have their meetings recorded. No. No, that wouldn't be normal.
Of course not. You don't go into a fucking embassy expecting your goddamn visits to be recorded, first of all.
It's not a prison.
It's
he
not a
wasn't
prison.
being
It's an
imprisoned
embassy.
there. He
Right.
was granted asylum.
Right. He was granted asylum.
He was a guest
He was a
there.
guest.
He was a guest there. He was
Right.
not being detained, not being tortured.
Right.
And under diplomatic cover, They could easily get him in and out of there.
Right. They could get him out,
so
he could go enjoy his life with the $1 million down payment he got for his book deal that he never fucking got.
They just sneak him out and put him into a nice nearby flat or whatever, easily.
Or put him somewhere, send him to Dubai, one of those fucking private islands, man-made islands, where only certain you can only get there if you have just the right.
But
there
he
are
wasn't
places in
there.
Mexico like that.
Yeah,
Right.
but this is bullshit. He wasn't living there. I'm not buying it.
It's bullshit.
Because of the diplomatic cover thing.
Right.
And he was a guest. He was not being detained. He wasn't under house arrest.
Right.
And the other thing, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the diplomatic cover and how they get things and people in and out. So I worked, I was not career NSA. I worked for 8 years. Very interesting. I learned a lot. But I didn't want to stay there because it was very bureaucratic. But anyway, I left. But I learned a lot, and I'm glad, because I know things that other people don't know, and they don't understand. So I worked in Australia at Pine Gap, the base in Alice Springs. There's a Netflix series about Pine Gap. It's just so stupid.
Is there a character based on you?
Yeah. It's a soap opera.
Why did you grab this when you said that?
Well, I can't grab something else.
What did you grab? What was that?
I'm posing.
You're posing like a cripple? What is it? It's a soap opera.
But anyway, so I worked at the base, and it's a CIA base.
This is my sexy look.
Stop it. Yeah, that's my sexy looking like a cripple.
That's the role play. Man, I was watching the old handyman videos from you remember that?
Handyman videos.
Oh my god.
Is this a type of porn?
Oh man.
Is this a type of porn?
You've never seen Handyman.
Handyman, what is that, sir? Come on.
You've never seen that? Anyway, it's so offensive.
Is it porn?
No, it's not porn. Would you stop? It's a fucking thing from, it wasn't Saturday Night Live, it was the other one, Mad TV or some shit.
Oh,
and
really?
It was
Okay,
Damon
no.
Wayans, one of the Wayans brothers with
yeah.
the bald one. And they were making fun of all these back at 10 years ago. Now we got nothing but stupid fucking superhero movies. And they're making fun of superhero movies. And they had, and because they were all white, because they were all white and they were all, good looking and chiseled, they got a affirmative action lawsuit. So they had to come up with another one, who wasn't white and he wasn't, good looking. So they have Damon Wayans his handicapped superhero, and I swear to God, he did the whole thing like this with this look on his face. And if they did that now, social media would just destroy him.
Yeah.
I mean, and whenever he said up to the way, he would go to the window and just go, man. He would fall out. You would hear his little feet would just. That was Handyman. And the audience laughed at that shit back in those days.
I didn't see
back
that.
when you could actually do comedy, but now, of course, you can't. But anyway,
can I continue?
What do you?
Thanks a lot. So I worked at.
They're gonna shut down my video because of that. Because of you.
Blame me for your channel going down.
That's why she did that. Because she's NSA.
Yeah.
So she went like this to trigger me.
I'm the plant.
That's right.
To undermine
You're the COINTELPRO.
and infiltrate. Anyway, so Pine Gap, it's a CIA facility. Stop looking at my leg. You perv.
So Pine Gap is a CIA facility.
Yeah. So it's called the Joint Defense Space Research Facility, or it was when I was there. And there are Aussie staff there. But it's CIA. It's technically it's an Air Force base, but it's a black box project. And they're NSA people who work there, and they're technically on the CIA payroll. So
how big is it? Big?
Bring up Google Maps. You can look at it.
I'm not going to look at it.
Anyway, but you can look at it. No, it's not really that big. It's a big area, and it's protected, so you can't violate. Oh, yeah, there are hot air balloons for the tourists in the area, and sometimes they stray into the airspace.
And they get shot down.
No, but they keep an eye on. Okay, there's a hot air. No, there was one that strayed into the airspace when I was there. It was funny.
It's funny.
Anyway, so it's CIA, but technically Air Force.
Okay, you brought this up for what?
Because they would bring in supplies, whatever, for the base from in a diplomatic pouch, huge cargo.
Well, you keep talking about you talk about materials when you talk about that.
Or people.
People.
They can be.
Let's make sure they understand people as well.
People.
That you could bring in.
Diplomatic
so you could
cover.
bring in under diplomatic cover.
Yeah.
You could have brought in
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
And no one would have known from the moment he got off the fucking plane. He would have been completely isolated and protected by diplomatic cover. Ergo, so if it were to be the case, if they had wanted to actually take this guest of theirs in Ecuador
No problem.
out of the building, it'd been no problem. Yeah, and that's exactly what that says.
And that's what he was not living there.
No.
And I agree. He was only brought in for these meetings. They made appointments. Okay, who's coming in? Who are they? And we'll record the meeting.
Right.
And who knows what was said in these meetings? So
There's
they were dissidents coming to visit Julian Assange.
Right. Well, dissidents, leaders of populist movements,
Yeah.
Journalists,
Nigel Farage.
potential Nigel Farage,
came,
potential whistleblowers,
Yeah.
numbers of them.
Yeah.
And they came in fully expecting to be able to sit down and talk with the great
Yeah. Yeah.
Julian Assange, the champion of fucking free speech and whistleblowers throughout the world. And what they really got was a honeypot. And they spoke to somebody who, by the way, now this is something that I've touched on before. I hate to quote a fucking Iron Man movie or to call attention to an Iron Man movie, but Ben Kingsley, I know he's cute. Ben Kingsley plays this character in Iron Man 3. And he's this evil, you know what I'm talking about? He's this evil fucking dreaded
I didn't see
terrorist.
That one. Oh, okay. I've seen one or two of the Iron Men, but
I didn't. I
don't
haven't
really
seen
care
this
for
one.
them.
I haven't really seen this one. I saw the first one. That was it.
Okay.
But who is the bad guy from? Where am I? What did I do?
You can go to imdb.com if
Oh.
you want to look up a movie or something. If that's a help, I don't know. If that helps.
I'd like to be able to type, but I'm way over here. Bag Kwai. I'd like to be able to type, but I'm stupid.
Stupid.
Well, we've just hit the 37-minute mark.
Yay.
All right, no, that's not the guy. The Mandarin.
Oh.
Iron Man 3. The Mandarin. He's an orange.
He's an orange.
Orange.
Oh, yeah, okay. You see how funny that was? Did I laugh? No.
I'm fucking clever.
Yeah.
He plays the Mandarin, this terrorist, right? He plays the Mandarin, this terrorist, and he's evil and he's bad, right? And he's gonna blow shit up. But it turns out when Iron Man, when who's Iron Man, whoever the guy is, right? When he goes and finds him, he's in a hotel, and he expects to find this guy, the Osama bin Laden, right? But what he finds, see, when he goes in there to find him,
Yeah.
what's his real fucking name? Hang on a second. I got to pull his real name up to find a picture of him. Trevor Slattery.
Oh.
What he finds instead is Trevor Slattery.
Oh.
And Trevor's, oh, God damn it. And Trevor Slattery has to explain to Iron Man what he really is. And what he really is a washed up drunk actor. What he really is a washed up drunk actor hanging out with some fucking chicks in a hotel.
Oh.
He's playing the role of the Mandarin for the fucking intelligence agencies.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. He's just an alcoholic. That's him right there. Being interrogated and giving up the fucking story
Oh, that's interesting.
in this hotel room. Right? So, I'm not exactly sure where we came to that.
Well, Julian
Assange is like
a
is the
performer.
Mandarin.
He's performing. He's playing
Performing.
a role.
Right.
He's a CIA asset. He's playing his role.
There you go.
And people are very naive. Yeah, the CIA does this stuff all the time.
Yes.
And this is probably one of the biggest psyops.
Well, bin Laden.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure bin Laden was really on board with the whole terror thing.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean...
Because he did right after 9/11 say, if you want to know who did it, look in Washington. Certainly, Edward Snowden was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Snowden is another thing. People don't get that.
Yeah. So let's move on to this real quick. So we know he's a dark day. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. He's crying about fucking Julian Assange because Julian Assange is just such a hero.
Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, we remember last week, released a statement saying that they had information that Ecuador was getting ready to hand him over. And Ecuador released saying, hey, we're not doing that. Turns out WikiLeaks was right again.
Yeah.
I showed you this morning why WikiLeaks was always right, because they never told you anything you didn't know.
One thing and I picked up on something else there that
the video I'm talking about this morning I made was different. I talked about what him going, WikiLeaks is right again.
Yeah.
Well, WikiLeaks is always right because they always told you shit people already knew. But we did talk about, one thing I mentioned in this morning's video was that he talks about, he's getting ready to say that he had been spied upon, but they didn't want to talk about him being spied upon, which is that what he was saying. He just came out the other day and said he was spied upon, but he didn't want to mention that because people are already talking about this.
Yeah.
Which tells you right off the fucking bat that WikiLeaks is lying through their fucking teeth.
They're saying, oh, this is big news. He was spied against. They spied against him. No, they spied for him.
Now, let me just begin with telling you the basics. The new and unexpected thing that just came into light in the last few days is that WikiLeaks uncovered an extensive spying operation against Julian Assange within the Ecuadorian embassy.
Really?
It entails a total invasion of privacy of Mr. Assange.
A total invasion of privacy?
Not an invasion of his privacy.
We have videos of Julian Assange playing with himself.
Yeah.
No, they have visitors of him meeting, images of him meeting with people that they really were interested in.
Yeah. But people were saying, poor Julian, his every second was being monitored and recorded. No.
Right, they were making comparisons to that Jim Carrey movie. Right, where he was living in some fucking TV
Well, the
thing.
Truman Show.
The Truman Show,
everything,
right.
And that's not exactly the Truman. It was described as a Truman Show-like, but but the thing is, Assange was in on it.
Right.
So it's not like he didn't know.
Right.
He knew.
Of course he knew.
He knew what was going on.
He knew. He knew entirely. He completely knew, because they have released that information.
He was not spied against. He was.
The team consulted Assange about each person seeking to visit him. Seeking, which means they didn't ask Assange afterwards, hey, who's that guy? They were setting up, knowing exactly who's seeking to meet him. They probably were his liaisons, so they were probably the ones setting the fucking meetings. They wouldn't actually talk to Assange and set the meeting, because Assange is doing blows somewhere in fucking Baja with some hookers, right? So he's doing blow in Baja. He's doing some yayo in Baja. Yayo in Baja. Say that fast.
Yayo in Baja. Yayo in Baja.
With the hookers. And so they call him up on his cell. So, okay, you got to come back. And just like the Mandarin in that fucking hotel, okay, goddamn it, half fucking drunk. His fucking handler's there. Pour him into a fucking diplomatic vehicle. Driving to the airport.
Didn't he also Assange? There was an embassy staffer who was his handler or whatever.
That's this guy.
Yeah.
That was this guy.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's him right there. He was his handler from the moment he set foot in 2012.
So he was getting.
So he knows all the dirt.
Well, he was getting special treatment at that embassy. Yeah. They were doing everything for him, and they set up that operation for him, not against him.
They talk about, Vice, that stupid fucking propaganda thing. They said, we know why. Because he wasn't taking baths regularly, and he was running around giving people a hard time. He was flinging shit on the walls.
Yeah.
They gave him they gave him this dude, his handler.
Yeah.
And they set up all this fucking surveillance shit to protect him.
He was a prized guest there. He wasn't.
He was an asset. Huh? Did I say that?
He was.
I think I said he was an asset.
But it shows how the Ecuadorian government was in on it from the start.
Yeah.
Correa and the Lenin Moreno government.
Now the only question is, why did they go from just WikiLeaks from 2007 until 2011, and why did they all of a sudden jump to we got to put him in a holding pattern someplace? And I think that was because that woman he fucking date raped in Sweden.
Wasn't it 2 women?
There was 2.
Yeah, I think there were 2
2
women.
complaints, but they got him to shut up and withdraw the thing. But I think it was them. I think they were scared. Plus, think about this: you got your asset. He's missed it. They did the whole fucking thing with the collateral murder video, which I talked about in the previous video. You can watch that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that again.
I know what you're talking about.
They did that whole thing. They had him all set up, and here this fucking dick, just like the Mandarin. Here this dick can't keep it in his pants.
Yeah.
Does some fucking bullshit. What would you do with him? Okay, look, motherfucker, you gonna be like that? We're gonna play it on a short leash.
Yeah.
Now you go to the fucking embassy. Now you're constantly under our care. You constantly got this dude right there on your ass. You know. I tell you right now, if the Mandarin fucking Julian Assange or him in a fight in a cage match, who would you put your money on? I'm putting my money on that dude. I don't know his background, but I'll tell you right now, he's not fucking Julian Assange. Let me hold this little fucking thing of Gore Vidal up. I'm such a victim.
It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I did that again, didn't I? I'm going to get shut down for that.
I'm going to shut you down.
And it's your fault.
If YouTube doesn't shut you down, I will.
Here's the funny thing about right off the bat, Glenn Greenwald was one of the biggest supporters of the
Oh yeah, and that should tell you something.
Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning thing, right? Then of course, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. You know what pace they were releasing those 90,000 fucking leaks? About 20 a month.
Yeah.
What pace has been Glenn Greenwald and the Intercept been releasing their fucking Edward Snowden leaks? About 20 a month, if that many.
Yeah, it's just a tiny fraction of what. Yeah.
They're both operations.
Yeah.
Probably run by the same fucking people. You know. And of course, as soon as they did theirs, who was the first one to jump and show his outward support for Edward Snowden?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And since Assange has been arrested, Snowden's been very vocal.
Right.
And normally you didn't hear very much from him.
No, he's busy with the yayo down in fucking Baja. People don't get this. You know, if you think, I'm going to go real conspiratorial now, but he was the dude from Oklahoma City bombing, Timothy McVeigh.
Yes.
If you think they actually killed that man, you are sadly mistaken. I believe someplace, one of these man-made islands in Dubai someplace, or that you have to have super high clearance just to get there as a dishwasher, or one of these places in the fucking Pacific coast of fucking Mexico, these towns where people like Jesse Ventura have lived and currently do live, where again, you can't even fly over in a hot air balloon because they will shoot you down there. I guarantee you there are places like that where these people fucking live. They bring them in. Timothy McVeigh was supposedly killed, but a lot of these people are taken to the Supermax in Colorado. And you can't even get within a camera shot of that fucking building.
Yeah, there are a lot of areas like that
right.
You can't.
Well, they go in the front door of the Supermax, and they go out the back door. Some of them do. Not all of them, but some of them do. Yeah. They go in there, they have plastic surgeons, they have whatever, and off you go. They can take people nowadays and put them into witness protection. And you could be looking for somebody that has killed your family, and they could literally relocate them 2 miles from your house, and you would never, and they would live there the rest of it, and you would never know it. Yeah. So you mean tell me they can't do that with people like Assange or McVeigh?
Yeah,
or
people just think all of this
Edward
stuff is
Snowden?
ridiculous, but if they actually look at things without the lens of their hero worship,
What?
look at things, and there are a lot of red flags
Yeah.
about Assange and Edward Snowden.
From the start.
Yeah,
From before the start.
and yeah.
Let me quote that one more time for you. I know this is against the law in the European Union, but it's still, journalism here. That is, of course, as long as you don't accept any of the conspiracy theories brewing about that WikiLeaks.org could be a front for the CIA or some other intelligence agency. Dated Time magazine. Didn't they have a nice picture of Lee Harvey Oswald? A doctored picture of Lee Harvey Oswald holding a newspaper in one hand and a fucking carbine in the other.
Yeah.
Wasn't that on the cover of New York of the
Was
Time
it?
magazine?
Oh.
Nice doctored pictures. Time magazine. Very nice.
But then there's big money in this whole Assange story too.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there's people who, like Caitlin Johnston.
I wondered if you were
Like
going to
she
bring her
just
back up.
turns out. That's why I joked she should just change her last name and call herself Caitlin Assange. Because it's like that's her brand. She is so connected.
What do you mean brand?
Yeah.
So that's what I got when I talked about her brand. She was like, "What do you mean brand? You must be crazy."
Yeah.
Must be crazy.
You know, she's got Caitlin merch. There's Caitlin merch.
I'm just
All
selling
these
out.
people.
I'm just selling out. I'll just say whatever.
Because this hero thing, this is the same with Bernie. People attach themselves to Bernie or Tulsi because there's money to be made. And you get a big audience. People want a hero. They want a hero. Uh-oh. You're gonna
Well,
look
because
for her merch?
Caitlin, I mean, listen, I've said it before multiple times. Caitlin does
Yeah.
some good stuff.
That's what you say.
What is this? Is this Medium?
Look. Yeah,
Where's
but look
her
at all
fucking-
the Assange stuff.
Oh my God!
God, this is the thing. It's ridiculous now.
No, wait a minute.
What? But she has her own website. You don't have to go to Medium. She has her own site, CaitlinJohnston.com.
Does she?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, yes. How would I fucking know?
I'm on her email list because I hate...
Rogue. She's a rogue.
Yeah,
journalist.
I hate read her.
Oh my God. Anyone who describes themselves as rogue, I'm being fucking sued. And I don't fucking describe myself as rogue.
She's not rogue.
I'm rogue. Okay, so where is it?
Where what?
Where is it?
What are you looking for?
A link to her merch.
I wish you had... Well, there's Patreon. I don't remember if it's on Patreon.
No, it's a book.
No, she has a merchandise. There's a site with merchandise.
I know, it's a...
But I don't remember. It might have been from Patreon, from the Patreon link. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Is it? Or is it?
Caitlin's articles on Medium here, or Steam It here, follow on Twitter, and follow her Facebook. You can also subscribe. Buy her book.
I don't know if it's... There's a link to her store or whatever somewhere, but I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember now where.
It used to be on here.
What?
A link to her merch.
Well, it might be where the book is. I don't know. See, I don't remember. No, that's just
Woke.
the Amazon.
Oh,
no, that's
come
just
on.
the Amazon thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'll find it. I'm going to do a video
But you
about
talk
it.
about a brand.
I'll find it.
There's
yeah.
your brand.
I'm going to talk about Caitlin's brand. And
Facebook, shine on. Maybe it's on the Facebook link. Let's go to Facebook. No,
I don't think I
can't go
went to Facebook. I don't think I went to Facebook.
I can't go to Facebook. I can't go to Facebook.
It might have been on the Patreon.
Oh,
It might have
fine,
been on
go to
Patreon.
Now we're hitting 1 fucking hour.
It might have been on Patreon, yeah. That might have been where I saw it.
Chuck me some bitcoins. Go to PayPal. Really? 100%
Okay,
reader
I don't
for-
remember where. I'll have to find it again because
I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
I don't know. What? What are you pointing at?
Oh no, I'm looking at links. No, okay, I don't remember. See, I didn't know.
Well, she has merch.
Yeah, she does. She has
T-shirts.
like shirts,
Right.
and stuff.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, but if you want to talk about brands,
Yeah, I will do it in a video.
you don't get more branded than that.
I'll find it, 'cause I don't
now,
remember
if she's done the fucking coffee mugs, God help her.
I didn't look at everything because it was so sickening.
I only saw, there was shirts that she could buy
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with her.
No,
But
they
you could
did.
buy
they
shirts.
Had her image.
No. They had some like that, but they had some with just, you go to this place and buy stuff, but because she sends you there, she gets a piece.
Yeah.
A piece of the action.
Yeah, they do.
So you talk about a brand. She's making $4,100 a month in Patreon.
That's just Patreon.
Right.
She
That's
takes
the start.
Bitcoin, PayPal,
Right.
merchandise.
So that, when you talk about brand, yeah, that's a brand. Here's the thing about that. Again, Caitlin Johnstone is not as bad as some, but there are others out there who are fucking terrible, like H.A. Goodman, like fucking Sticks and Trannies, 5.55 inches. There are people out there who will hop up and down and screech, and one of them is this guy right here. Oh, I shut it down. I'm sorry. One of those is fucking Jimmy Dore. And he'll hop up and down and screech about the fact that Rachel Maddow makes $33,000 an episode. Right? Oh my God. Well, I mean, she's working on it.
That's her goal.
She's working
That's
on
her
it.
fucking goal.
Right.
That's what
she's
she
fucking
wants.
working on it.
That's what she wants.
To my $132 a month
That much?
for Patreon.
That much?
Well, they killed my fucking PayPal.
Did it go up?
By $5.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Big time. I shouldn't have told her that because now I got to buy lunch. So, to my $132 a month, her $4,100 a month is the same as the $33,000 a fucking episode compared to her whatever fucking.
You're
Caitlin
just jealous.
Johnstone.
You want to be Caitlin.
I'm just jealous.
You want to be Caitlin.
I just want to be rich, bitch. But I mean, I get so sick of that. We ain't got no brand. By the way, if you're still watching the video, go buy my shit. Online, she made fun of me for saying, you got to worry about your brand. And she's like, I'm going to bring a brand. You must be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. She blocked me twice, and it doesn't take much.
She's going to block me now. She hasn't blocked me yet, but she's going to.
I don't know. I think she likes you.
So, why did we bring up Caitlin again? Just because you wanted to rag on her?
She's going to get it.
She's
going to get the Aunt BB treatment. Believe you me. I already started on her. She gives left cover for this CIA operation.
Should we bring the eater of fucking cables in here?
Want
Should we
me
bring
to
him
carry
in?
him?
No, I'll get him. He's too heavy for you.
No, he's not.
Yes, I'll get him.
Aunt BB's got muscles.
I'll get him. Besides, it's my
You don't
audience.
want me holding
It's
him.
my audience, and they like to see my butt.
Yeah. You got to turn just right. You got to work it. You got to work it. Work it.
Hey, so big. This is the trick. In my video this morning, this is what I did at the end of it. I said, okay, if you're here for the whole thing, then you get to see the bow. You want to hold the bow?
gator.
You want to hold the bow gator?
Bow
All right, there you go. Be careful with it.
I'm right-handed, so I got to turn him.
All right, there you
I
go.
want to turn him just right.
Watch his little legs.
I
There you
got
go.
him. I got him.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Bow.
Turn him so you can see his face.
Here.
It's Gator. Bow Gator.
And while Bo is
Gator.
here and being so good, we'll give him some treats. You want a treat?
It's like a Twizzler.
Hmm?
Right? He thinks they're
Treat?
Twizzlers. He thinks they're Twizzlers.
If he's still, he knows he's not. He better not bite it. He was like, oh God.
What a
Did you
big-
believe he's 13 weeks?
Have you weighed him again?
No.
I know he was 20 pounds.
He's too big.
20 pounds, right? 20
days,
pounder. This
2
is
days.
a 20-pound baby.
2 days ago.
I'm sure glad I didn't give birth to this.
He's probably up to about 22 now. And he is a baby. A baby that can peel fucking duct tape off the wall and eat the cable behind it.
I'm his godmother.
You are indeed his godmother.
I'm his godmother.
Yes, you are. So, have we pretty much touched all the bases we wanted to touch on this? We're now up to an hour and 4 seconds.
I think so.
Have we hit everything?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to rag on Caitlin more, but I'll have to do
Have
that.
we given
Save that for
have we
another-
given the people all they need, all we can give them?
But you'll get a lot of comments. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
I get those comments anyway.
You're extreme. You're being extreme.
You're an extremist. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, Scott.
Is this a purity test?
Is this a purity
Yeah,
test?
I mean, the idiots that say that, I say that's what Hillary, that's what the Hillary people used to say, talk about purity tests. God, come on, people, get real. Stop with the hero worship. That's what I wish people will.
There you go. That's a good one. And
You
stop
know,
with the
because
hero worship when
you get blinded and you're not seeing
and
reality.
you get misled.
Yeah,
Because
very
they know
easily.
that. Gimme, 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 gimme.
Yeah.
Because they
The
know
hero.
that.
They build up these heroes.
Right.
Edward Snowden, the hero.
Manufactured hero. The only hero anybody ever should follow
It's you.
is Bo.
No, you.
Bo, destroyer of all cables, all things
Gator.
cable.
It's Gator.
Bo Gator.
Gator.
Are you a hero? Oh, I'm having
Gator.
a hard time breathing. Oh,
He's a hot little puppy.
he's a hot little puppy.
He gets overheated.
Yeah, it does. He's got his second set of shots in doctor visit on the 3rd. So he's going to go and do that naked. All right. Don't worry, he'll be attacking your legs in a few minutes. Oh,
Don't
there he
they
goes.
all? Don't they all attack my legs?
Can you see him? There he goes. Can you see him?
Where?
If it wasn't for my belly, you could see him. Anyway, okay. So, good place to end. No hero worship.
Is it? Yeah.
Stop at the fucking hero
It
worship.
is.
Come on.
Because they're not seeing what's going on. They're going, oh, Julian.
And you're
No,
being-
he's not. And the way he looked, when they were saying, oh, he looks terrible. When I saw that, I'm going, he looks fine. He's just wearing a beard. And somebody, the hilarious comment was, he looks like David Letterman in retirement. I love that. That was perfect. You know, just a
if I
beard.
ever get dragged out, or better yet, better still, if I ever had my friends and my neighbors drag me out of the house and put me in a car with the police, sitting there laughing, smiling, going like this, you're not believing this shit, are you? If that ever happens, I'm going to have one of 2 books when I get dragged out. It's going to be this
here
one.
we go. What is that one?
Resist! Resist!
Ah.
It's a good book. Or it's going to be this one. Resist! Resist! Of course, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Too good. There you go. So, we don't get kickbacks for those books. I just grabbed them off the shelf. What is that? Is that my hooker's fucking? Don't look at that. It's hard to meet women down here in Tampa. So I'm gonna have some fun today, do something, and then you're out pretty soon to CU and CUBA. Cuba.
Kua. Kua. Apparently, some people pronounce it there. Kua.
Cuba.
Kua. I think they put their lips together like they're gonna say a B, but it comes out a W. Kua. Kua. Kua.
Joe is pronounced Yo too, right?
Jose.
Jose. Right.
Jose.
Jose. Right. Okay.
Yo.
Joe.
Yo.
Is there a
Yayo.
Joe? Yayo.
Yo.
So do you want to extra us? Is that you have 2 intros and extras, right? On this whole video thing, you want to give us an extra in Spanish?
No sé. Yo quiero Taco Bell. How about that? That'd be funny. Hasta la vista, baby.
Why were we talking about Yo Quiero Taco Bell? Why are we talking about that? Something to do with Taco Bell or something to do with...
Oh man, what was the Taco Bell reference? I forgot.
It was a
now.
Taco Bell reference. We had a Taco Bell reference recently.
Oh, it's the cat on Twitter.
Oh,
Taco Cat.
The
That's
racist
taco
taco
cat.
cat, right? With the
And
with the
then
mustache.
what kind of meat is it in the taco bowl? There's a lot of speculation. That's why. Yeah, because the cat in the taco with the mustache.
There's no speculation. We know what that
Taco,
fucking meat
taco
is.
cat spelled backwards is
Taco cat.
taco cat.
All right, so there you go. We've given you all this. We've given it all. We've given more than it all. We've given so much. I don't know why I'm
We're
doing
givers,
this.
not
givers,
takers,
not
not
takers.
takers.
We're makers, not takers.
Oh yeah, is that the makers? Not
That's the Ayn Rand thing.
Yeah.
Another thing that you hate about the Ayn Rand thing. What was the other Ayn Rand thing? Statism.
That
Be
she
a maker, not a
popularized.
taker.
And the radicals say, "Oh, we're not status.
You damn status.
We're not status." Well, that's Ayn Rand popularized that
So
term.
my you damn statist. And then as soon as the fucking mail's fucking late, they're like, God damn motherfuckers.
No.
Where's my mail? Where's my fucking? Where's my government check?
Where's the
There
bus?
was government checks too.
Where's the bus?
Where's
like,
the bus?
oh, that's the
God
bus.
damn it.
Damn those status. Where's my
Bastards.
bus?
Waiting for his government check. This is some
Yeah.
government cheese.
Yeah, working for the government. Or they're a banker.
Mm-hmm. Over there,
And
bank.
complain about status bankers.
So, is that it? Are we just rambling now?
I think we are.
We've been rambling for about, an hour now?
This was supposed to be, what, a 15-minute video? What was it supposed to be?
Well, I'm not posting this today. You can post it today. I'm not posting it today.
You know?
No, I'll post it tomorrow. I give the people what they need. I don't give them what they want. I don't want to saturate the market with Scott. It'll hurt my brand.
Overexposure?
Overexposure. People think I'm just this slacker, lazy slacker. If they see I'm actually doing shit, then fuck that. It'll screw my brand up.
Really?
Yeah. I got a brand, you know.
You know what it is. I told you what it... You said you didn't have a brand.
I don't have a
I
brand.
told you what it is.
What is it?
Smoking on camera.
That's not a brand. That's a fucking thing. That's a stunt. That's not
That's
a brand.
kind of a brand.
That's any kind of a brand. That's not a brand.
What is your brand then?
My brand is a dude's about to be sued into the fucking poverty, into the poorhouse.
Down and out in Tampa.
Down and out in Tampa. Now that's a brand.
Down and out in Tampa.
I can get behind that one. I like that one. Who is that? Is that really my hooker? I don't know who the fuck that is. Oh, yeah, go ahead. That's not my hooker, so I don't care.
That's boring. Jesus. That's just
It was more
boring.
exciting when I was lying about it. You
Yeah.
see how easy it is to mislead people? Jimmy
That's
Dore.
boring. What a
I just-
boring card.
I gave somebody else.
I got all excited. I
I
did
know.
think it was like a hooker or something.
Did you get like emotionally invested, like
Yeah.
Jimmy Dore does, like fucking Caitlin
You
Johnstone
know, I had
does?
this image of you as this, I don't know, player. A player.
A player doesn't.
A player.
First of all, let me tell you, a player doesn't call somebody else's hookers. A player has his own hookers.
Okay.
He's got a string of his own hookers, and when he needs cash, he doesn't sit around and wait for Patreon to come through. He just pulls up at 2:00 in the morning, on Nebraska, and says, "Is Scott gonna have to choke a bitch?" That's a Chappelle Show fucking reference.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No, because I didn't watch a lot of Chappelle.
Wayne Brady.
Oh.
Someone said Wayne Brady makes Brian Gumbel look like Malcolm X. He's so fucking white. And so of course
right.
he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that on
yeah.
the Chappelle Show, and so of course they had Wayne Brady on, and Wayne Brady
right.
Wayne Brady was off the chain.
Oh.
He pulled a drive-by shoot and killed somebody. Dave said he wanted some cash and needed some cash. Hey, he goes, I got some cash for you. And he pulls up next thing, and he calls his hoes over, and one of them only gives him a single $100 bill, and he goes, hey, Ben looks lonely. Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch? That's the
God.
to see Wayne Brady say that is the funniest fucking thing.
Oh.
And only could he get away with that on the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, you can't do that stuff anymore.
Who?
Well, comedy.
No.
You can't do things edgy.
Well, you could probably get away with that, but I mean, that
Really?
wasn't that.
I
Well,
don't know.
shooting somebody in a drive-by, yeah, you probably being the most stereotypical gangs, quote unquote, black guy. As long as it's being done by two black guys from a show that's produced by black guys, I guess you could get away with it. But Dave Chappelle couldn't. What Dave Chappelle couldn't get away with was Black Bush. That's what shut him down. You ever see that?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's a good show. Anyway, here we are now pushing the 10-10 envelope. Yeah. I tell you what, anybody watches this fucking thing, it's more entertaining than the last 20 years of Saturday Night Live.
No, Saturday Night Live didn't go really bad until
20 years ago.
Well, 2016 for sure. Like what?
No, well, listen. I mean, when they had that stupid fucking guy trying to act like they've always had a fat dude trying to act like fucking John Belushi. Listen, once Belushi was gone, that whole first crowd it sucked.
It had its ups and downs.
Mostly downs.
But it was classic. I was in high school when it started out.
Yeah.
75, yeah.
Those are the good old days.
You were just a baby.
I remember.
You were just a baby.
Music ain't the same thing as it was when I was a kid. Get off my lawn!
Yeah, you're there now. Yeah.
I've turned into that guy.
You're that guy.
Yeah. I'm the guy at the end of the bar. Oh, let me tell you a story. Come here.
God.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah, you're funny. Okay. Funny Scott.
And a funny dog. Funny Scott, funny dog. Funny
Gator.
dog. Gator.
It's Gator. That's my nickname for him. Gator.
Bo Gator. All right, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This, in case you don't know,
Muchas gracias.
is you know, she speaks all these different languages, and she acts as though she can't speak fucking Spanish.
I know, but I don't. I get inhibited unless I'm actually with Spanish speakers.
Some of them speak Spanish.
I know, but it's.
Can you say thanks for watching and subscribe? Hit the like and subscribe button down below.
That's too much.
You can say that.
No, I can't.
Can you say?
No, I can't.
Can you say yo quiero Taco Bell? That's the same thing.
Yo quiero yo. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
She says that, and she's gonna publish it on her YouTube channel.
Yo quiero un kilo.
And 20 minutes later, they're gonna kick in my fucking door.
Yo quiero un kilo de yayo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The Tampa police are sitting around going, "Hey, what did she say?" With a donut. What did she say? Something about yayo kilo. This is a good donut. Okay. Thank you very much for watching.
You're really dragging this out.
I am. I'm trying to hit 120 because mine was 120, so I'm trying to hit 121 since I wanted to do it in 15 minutes. Thank you guys very much for watching. I don't know what just happened.
We're gone.
We're gone.
That was Bo. That was funny. You
Bo.
showed Bo.
Bo took over.
Bo.
Hang on a second.
That was funny, Bo.
Bo pulled the fucking.
was suddenly there.
Bo pulled a fucking Cass Sunstein on us. Hang on a second.
There
he goes. All right.
And he cute.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. And we will see you guys next time. De nada.